Let's do another truth table, this time for a more complicated argument that contains three simple component propositions instead of two. That means the truth table will have 8 rows instead of 4. Since France is not a member of the Union, it follows that Britain is not. For if France is not a member, then either the Netherlands is or Britain is. You'll note that the conclusion of the argument is that Britain is not a member of the Union. You'll also note that we have 3 simple components in this argument, which we can represent as F for France is a member of the Union, N for Netherlands is a member of the Union, and B for Britain is a member of the Union. As we just mentioned, since we have 3 simple component statements, our truth table will need 8 rows, that is, 2 to the 3rd power, 2 times 2 times 2. We can reconstruct this as follows. Premise 1, France is not a member of the Union. Premise 2, if France is not a member of the Union, then either the Netherlands is a member of the Union or Britain is a member of the Union. Conclusion, Britain is not a member of the Union. Symbolized, it looks like this. First premise, not F. Second premise, if not F, then either N or B. Conclusion, not B. We're going to use the same process as before. We'll construct the truth table and then look for a row with all true premises and a false conclusion. First, we put our symbolized argument into the header row at the top right. Then we enter our simple propositions on the left. Next, we fill in the columns beneath the simple propositions. Notice that the first column has 4 T's at the top, then 4 F's at the bottom. The second column, beneath the N, alternates each pair of T's and F's, and the third column alternates each instance of T and F. Now we're set to fill in the columns on the right side of the truth table. For the first premise, underneath the statement tilde F, which stands for France is not a member of the Union, we see that it has the opposite truth values than the first column on the left. That's because the premise is denying the assertion that France is a member of the Union. Let's go to the second premise. The second premise says that if France is not a member of the Union, then either the Netherlands is a member of the Union or Britain is a member of the Union. Before we handle the main connective in this statement, which is the conditional, symbolized by the horseshoe, we need to first look at the 2 component connectives it contains. We'll do the negation first since it has the smaller scope. This column will have the same values as the column we just finished, since the statements are identical. Now, let's look at the values for the disjunctive statement, either the Netherlands is a member of the Union or Britain is a member of the Union. Since this is an either-or statement, we apply the rule for inclusive disjunction, which tells us that such statements are true provided that at least one component disjunct is true. Now we're ready to tackle the main connective, which is a conditional. You should know the rule for conditionals at this point. Conditional statements are false if and only if the antecedent is true and the consequent is false. Finally, we do our column for the conclusion, which states that Britain is not a member of the Union. This is the negation of one of our simple statements and has the opposite values that B has. Our truth table is now done with rectangles around the columns that represent the 2 premises and the conclusion of the argument. We're now looking for a row in which the 3 columns in which the premises are true and the conclusion is false. Do you see any such rows? If so, the argument is invalid. Can you now see that this is an invalid argument?